if you have any final thoughts on this, even as we switch gears and talk a little bit about that deputy presidential debate lined up for tomorrow. We're a little under or with about 32 hours or so to go to that. And we got a glimpse of what debates look like in this season with the Nairobi gubernatorial debate as well. What are your expectations as we count down to that debate at Catholic University tomorrow, even as you tell us if you have a last word or two on the zoning discussion?
Okay, I think in terms of the zoning, much has been said. I'll stick to what I said earlier. It is a good political strategy. However, it has to start early and infused with the credibility of leaders that we need, integrity, and their track record. As long as parties have that in terms of a strategy, then we are not treated to the circus you're seeing at this point in time. Then thereafter, you have a 13th house that really does not meet the expectations of the country. But secondly, as I reiterate, Kenyans have to get involved in a political party of their choice, contribute to its growth, ask the questions, vet these candidates yourself. It's not the leaders telling you, but you also have a stake because you understand the party and you have seen the track record of these leaders within your political party. In terms of the deputy presidential debate that's happening tomorrow, I think it will be an extremely exciting day. I speak to that as a woman, that we have 4 formidable presidential candidates, 4 of whom have nominated 3 deputy presidents who are women. I think that is very important to really highlight. And having listened to quite a number of them, I can guarantee and vouch that they are women of credibility. The women who have a track record, including the man who's also in the fold. I think what Kenyans need to look at is that as much as there's been a lot of debate, focus, or any other, in terms of the position of the deputy president, one, it is a very powerful office. It is a constitutional office. This is a president in waiting. So we need to be able to look at these individuals first and foremost from that perspective, that these are presidents in waiting. Do they understand the context that they are working under or they are campaigning under? If you look at the realities of Kenya right now, we kept on saying we are plagued by numerous problems. Cost of living is out of reach for a number of, if not most Kenyans. We are staring at a huge youth bulge that's unemployed, and looking at a very high national debt that needs to be cleared, and of course corruption. That is this monster we are not able to slay. So I think for us, we are looking at very, very precise and succinct manifesto points, moving away from the talk. Give us a breakdown. If this is what you're looking towards, let's move away from the campaign rhetoric. Give us a pragmatic formula. Don't overpromise, just be pragmatic and give us that roadmap you have as a political party or a political outfit where you'll support your president to be able to lead this country. But of course, I am a stickler of believing that we also want to see you as a leader. I think we've seen that where you have a deputy president who really understands the brief, it's a very crucial thing because you're coming to support and complement your president. So we look forward to hearing from them, but we also hope that in the articulation of their manifestos, their roadmaps as individuals, we also get to see who they are as people. As I've indicated, these are presidents in waiting. Let's ask the difficult questions. Let's move away from the campaign trail and the rallies. This is now very serious business. Let's ask the questions that matter and really push to have pragmatic, honest, and viable answers towards
Fred, even as Anne talks about asking questions that matter, do debates matter? Do they sway the electorate? There are people waiting to see.
Absolutely, absolutely. Debates matter a lot. And I can tell you, as a growing democracy, this is the way to go. And we really have to thank the organizers of this debate that they are giving Kenyans an opportunity to actually understand who is suitable and capable and competent enough to be a leader from where they are sitting and watching and contributing. And for us in Azimio, this is this is going to be the curtain raiser of Raila Odinga's debate, because Kenyans, we must promise you expect nothing but a stellar performance from Madam Martha Wangari Karua, where we do expect that she's going to tell Kenyans the issues in economic revolution on all sectors, agriculture, climate, energy. We do expect that Madam Martha Karua is going to articulate the issues of social transformation, particularly on Inua Jamii, where we're looking at the 6,000 cash transfers to households who are vulnerable, looking at the single mothers, we're looking at, the youths who are unemployed through the, what we now bring back the kazi kwa vijana, and also we expect her to articulate very well the issues of good governance, particularly corruption, that she's very, very keen about. We say in Azimio, don't dare, don't do, don't touch. And we have said that 100 days into the government, we shall declare corruption a national security threat. We do expect that Martha Karua will give Kenyans now how we are going to address the issue of Azimio la wakina mama, access to cash transfers to women, business opportunities. And this is the opportunity for women that they've been waiting for. Because for the first time, we are going to have a female president, and not only a female president, but a female deputy president, but a female deputy president that is suitable, competent, and capable. This debate for tomorrow, Kenyans must be ready for it, because we are bringing you a candidate like no other, in the name of Madam Martha Wangari Karua.
Okay, you've already predicted a stellar performance. We'll have to wait and see. For you, Joy, what are your thoughts? And of course, the concern by some that debates ultimately reveal personalities, but not necessarily issues. How do the organizers ensure that the issues are the ones that come out at the end of the day? And what are your expectations for tomorrow?
I must agree that having a the deputy presidential debate is going to highlight and showcase what women leaders can do. And that is something that I join Ms. Ireri in celebrating, that women now tomorrow will be front and center, and Honorable Rigathi will be seriously outnumbered. Something that I feel very nice about, because I have said here before that when we talk about achieving the one-third gender principle, the male politicians have been behaving as if it's a big favor that they're doing women. But if they don't wake up and smell the coffee, the women are coming and they're taking over. And eventually it will be the men who need the affirmative action. But then let me leave the discussion there for another day. When it comes to tomorrow, one thing that I would expect, what we have had so far in the few debates that I have watched, some by your station exclusively and others organized by the committee, is that sometimes it seems like the issues are downplayed at the expense of the personality. If I think, for example, the Nairobi gubernatorial one. That's one disappointment that I had. That there was a lot more of the jabbing and the jesting rather than breaking down the real issues. The time also is so short that the beginning of the answer starts and then your time is up, keep quiet, let's move on. Until you get to a place you're wondering, okay, fine. So, okay, this time we were supposed to spend it doing what? Looking at the suits or what else? We have to come to a place where ample time...
How much time is enough time?
No,
Allow me to
if somebody is making a point, if you give them something like 3 minutes, it's enough to start a thought and finish it. If you give somebody in 60 seconds, give me an answer. I mean, I don't know. I don't even know what somebody's supposed to do with it. I'd rather have fewer questions. We have maybe 4 major areas, fewer questions, that pack a punch, give somebody some time to answer, and even time for follow-through questions like, would you like to clarify that? Rather than you stick to a script, you go to the little videos from the viewers. Before long, it's a production rather than actually an extraction of value. That would be my criticism of the process so far. Is it important for voters? There are those who are undecided for whom this is important. There are others who will watch it to cheer their guys on. And as Fred has already correctly pointed out, there are those who are expecting a stellar performance from their candidates. And that is something that cannot be downplayed. But there are those who honestly, genuinely do not know who to vote for. And this becomes a deciding factor for them. For those ones, then it's important for them to hear nitty-gritty rather than, and that's what Anne was saying earlier, for them to actually hear, apart from the rhetoric that you have on the campaign trail, do you really know your stuff? Deputy president is a president in waiting. So as much as the president is competent, we expect the same level of competence, if not more, from the deputies. Do they have the same grasp of issues? In terms of the promises that are being made, are they on the same wavelength? This is something that the Kenyans will be looking out for. So it's going to be interesting. I hope it is more you know, the balances and the nuances come out better. The claims of bias, of course, by Kenya Kwanza, the questions being sort of set up to embarrass the candidates rather than to expose. Some of those things, honestly, at this level, ought to be done away with so that Kenyans extract value from the process rather than something by the time it is done, it's more, you know, you have more questions than answers, to use your words.
Okay.
And I think, sorry, just very important on that. I think the other point that's very important and that should not be lost is a fact-checking. Fact-checking is very important. I think what happens is I'll come and claim certain things. I think it's just right. And even if you don't have a chance to bring that candidate back, can we have a process where the organizers actually tell us, if Anne came and claimed this, is it true? We've seen it work in other democracies. It speaks to you as an individual and your integrity. So it means, I mean, you see, what I feel the pressure on candidates, and this is across the board when you come to a debate, is there's so much pressure to paint perfection. It's not. I think part of it is to own up, for example, where you feel you might not be able to do it or should have been done better, you own it. And that way, you'll be able to be giving truths. Because at times what we have is a lot of clouded truths. But when you go and fact check, it's actually not the point. So we hope, even as you organize this Wahiga, and we congratulate the organizers, even if we have one round of debates with these formidable candidates, we hope along the way there'll be an element of fact-checking and coming back to the electorate to tell us if this was claimed, is it accurate or not. It's very important.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, I wanted to read feedback, but
Just
jump
one,
in and read feedback after that.
Maybe Joy said that she's actually privy to some of the issues happening in Kenya Kwanza. Probably for us in Azimio, we do expect that Kenya Kwanza show up for the debate. In fact, we would want Rigathi Gachagua to come and debate Martha because he has been speaking so much in the rallies and even disparaging women. But this is an opportunity for him to come and face the women of Kenya and other Kenyans in general to say
How was it disparage women?
you know, they have been saying it's not about gender. They've been saying that when we did nominate Martha, and that did not sit very well with many of the many women in this country. And again, it is only Kenya Kwanza that has not nominated a woman for this position. And it is important now, the issue they've been talking about, to come for the debate. Let them not shy away from this debate. We have heard from the media that probably they are planning not to come, but we want to encourage them because we consider them as worthy competitors. We want to encourage Gachagua to come and face Martha because Martha Wangari Karua will, for the first time, tell Kenyans exactly why she is the best for this position and what she's going to do to end all this suffering that Kenyans have been undergoing.
To face Martha or to face Kenyans?
I am speaking like that because they have said the only competition they know now is Azimio. And we do recognize we are the only competition. So if we are the only competition, as they face other competitors, then it's fair that they face Martha. And again, I know the media have also done their assessment. The debates are organized in a manner that those who are having 5% and above. So I'm talking about people who have got that percentage.
Okay. Let's look at feedback, then I get final thoughts from my guests on this topic of the debate, and it's one we'll be having quite a bit. And a bit later on, I'll be hosting the chair of the Kenya Editors Guild, Churchill Otieno, to also talk about what you can expect tomorrow. Stay tuned for that interview at 9 o'clock. But these are your thoughts this morning on a cross-section of topics we've been discussing. Hashtag Daybreak, SMS line 22422. Frank Orinde, you said the zoning strategy is a recipe for chaos within the coalitions. The truth of the matter is that it has led to rebellion. Zoning should have been done before nomination. It is late. Okay, Frank, thank you. Okelo Mwalimu, you say, as we give IBC time, ample time to prepare for the August 9th polls, we must urge them to avoid similar mistakes that led to a nullification of the 2017 polls. IBC must take full control of the entire electoral process and come up with predictable systems for unpredictable outcomes. That's very interesting. What are some of their redundancy plans? Bob Otieno Wino, you say political zoning is not healthy in this era. It's undemocratic. It denies Kenyans their right to vote. And what if you don't win the elections after you zone? If you're in one coalition, let your candidates battle it out under your umbrella. Thank you, Bob Owino, for that. Quinas Pacho, elections is a contest between parties. It will always be pulling towards the advantage. IBC must remain firm and focused on the prize. That is free, fair and verifiable elections. Complaints will always be there, from parties. Charles Woodrose, you say zoning is very important in winning elections in certain areas. Coalitions need to have a popular candidate vying in highly contested areas. They are regions meant for certain political parties, which ought to be respected. Okay, Joy, could there be a wise political strategy to staying away from a debate?
Let me first start. Yes,
Yeah,
let me first start by where Fred said that Honorable Gachagua made disparaging remarks against women. I think that was a very unfortunate statement, which he ought to take back, because I don't think there's anywhere that Rigathi Gachagua has spoken up against women. Being a woman in that party, I would have been the first one to stand up and say, hey, that is out of order. So I do not think that that was a fair comment. One of the things that we need to understand is that the fact that Kenya Kwanza chose to go with a gentleman rather than a lady was a choice of, one, the candidate, and two, came after a political process that they engaged in. It's one of those things that does not reflect on the candidate or the party in terms of the policy on women, because as the candidate and the manifesto clearly sets out, there is a role for women in the political party. All our organs have employed zebra nomination. So if the chairman is a man, the vice is a woman. The Secretary General is a woman, her deputy is a man. The National Election Board, the same. The chairman is a man. Is a man, and then the deputy is a woman. And that has gone through all our organs, and 50% of cabinet is going to go to women. So it's one of those things where having just this one thing that there's this one woman who's not, it's true. It's not about gender. It's about the entire agenda.
It's not just about one woman. It's the deputy president's post. I mean, how powerful would that have been if Kenya Kwanza had
It would have been absolutely brilliant if there was a suitable woman. But even of the women considered, the pragmatism is make the best strategy that is going to propel your candidate forward where you need to go. And for Kenya Kwanza, the women who are available and ready and willing to serve, who were considered and were qualified, did not tick some of the boxes that the candidate was looking for. And that is fair, because he's the one who has to work with this person as his deputy. And so in terms of political strategy, like I've said before, and I firmly believe it, that actually William Ruto hit the jackpot, because he's with somebody who he thinks he can work with and who he sees as being his able deputy in case he's not there. But to your question, in terms of strategy of whether it's clever strategy to attend or not to attend, in terms of my hierarchy in Kenya Kwanza, that would be way above my pay grade. So I wouldn't be able to tell whether they're coming or not. But in terms of strategy, again, the media bias by a report by the Media Council that came out the other day, you saw the interview by the spokesman, Hussein Mohammed. There's definitely the feeling from Kenya Kwanza that the media is very heavily biased against them, and they don't feel that they're going to get a fair shake. I remember that I had some complaints within the party ranks after the interview that was done by the deputy president with one of the media houses. In fact, the last two interviews that he gave the media houses, the mamas later were, people come with a script, they come with the intention to embarrass, they don't actually come to listen to what the plan is. And so I know for a fact that that is something that the people around the president and the deputy have spoken strongly against. Said, look, this late in the day, we've consolidated our base, our message is clear, we already have a very solid, they feel that they have a very solid lead. What benefit of this is it to us? And so if they turn up tomorrow, it would be a very good gesture, but if they don't, quite frankly, I wouldn't be surprised, because I know for a fact that there is plenty of disgruntlement in that area as to how they feel they have been treated by the media.
I think it opens the door to the question of political scrutiny versus political bias. Where does one cross the line? Fred, you look like you really want to say something. Now, and to wrap it up for us.
I am glad that Joy Medivo has actually admitted that for them, they only have the agenda, they don't have the gender. For us in Azimio, we have both the agenda and the gender. And she has also admitted that they didn't have a suitable woman to fill that position. We had a suitable woman in the name of Mother Wangari. Now, Kenyans, this is not war. This is a competition. What we expect is a fair competition, and a competition that is worth watching. A competition that is worth
take back your disparaging.
And, you know, in our own admission again, she has said that they said it is agenda, not gender. The women of Kenya are watching me today. I want to tell you, because we are struggling with the two-thirds gender, we are struggling with the position of women in this country, we are struggling with ensuring that women occupy the topmost position as we progress in democracy. This is your time. You now know which political formation has your back. You now know which political formation cares about you. That political formation is Azimio la Umoja One Kenya, because the other person have admitted on this bench that, you know what, they don't care about you.
Okay. Anne, I'm going to leave you to make an open closing remark.
Thank you. I think for me, as I said earlier, we are staring at an exciting time in our democracy, an exciting time where we are seeing the growth of issues, especially ideology that is progressive. We are seeing a lot of special emphasis on groups that have often been left behind, like women, youth, and persons with disability. I think for me, sitting here, I'd like to say two things. One, that a lot still needs to be done. I would not conclusively say that in my case, for example, I work with women, that women issues can really be reduced to an individual or a policy statement. We need to see more. So our appeal is whether we are looking at coalitions that have fronted a woman candidate, or we have very elaborate manifestos on women, we need to walk the talk. The question about the marginalization, the security of groups that are really underprivileged in this country needs to be looked at, and especially the safety of young women. Having said that, again, a hallmark of our democracy is tomorrow when we'll start the key debates. That's the deputy presidential debate. My appeal is that Kenyans are able to understand what this means, that Wahiga, we have more this articulate presentation, and I know the candidates are preparing themselves. My appeal would be, can they think of those young men, especially young men who line up their campaign rallies, who cordon off those vehicles we have been seeing, who are shouting and carrying, I don't want to call them weapons, but all manner of things in the air. You need to speak to that group. So as you come, most of us, even at this panel, would understand what they are unpacking, but that is a one group of Kenyans. It's young Kenyans who feel very hopeless, who feel that this leader is a miracle they need, and who we know are depending on this election cycle because of also the financial gain. You have to call it for what it is. They need to speak to that group so that we have more of them coming in the fold. I'd be particularly excited to see smaller groups of these young Kenyans assembling and conglomerating before television screens and unpacking thereafter. What did that mean? Without bias, what does that mean? And at the end of the day, let's remember, yes, it's a debate. It's a chance for us to see the candidates individually and for them to unpack their party manifestos, but the rubber will meet the road in the pragmatism. We need formulas that work. Let's not hear promises that we know are far-fetched. We've been here as a country. Let's critique without bias. Let's be able to ask further questions, and as I've indicated, bottom line, let us fact check. It's most important.
I believe the organizers are listening to you, and we'll actually be hosting the chair of the Kenya Editors Guild at the top of the next hour. So I'll pose each of your concerns to them and make sure they are able to hear them out, with the Deputy President's debate lined up for tomorrow, and the presidential debate, one I'm sure you'll also be keenly waiting for, lined up for next week, Tuesday as well. Many thanks to my guests, Joy Mdivo, an advocate of the High Court, Fred Okango, Political Affairs Secretary KANU, and Annie Reri, Executive Director, FIDA, and the chairperson of ELOG as well. And thanks to everyone who's written in via 2242, our SMS line. The hashtag has been Daybreak. On that note, we take a break, but the show isn't over just yet. I hand over to the sports team to walk us through the big sports events of the week. What a week it has been in the world of sports. I thought we finished with some of these issues back in 2016, but it seems the ghosts of Rio are back again. Talk of 32 extra names on the traveling list to Oregon, blighting the travel of Team Kenya and what was expected to be a brilliant performance. There's that whole matter of Omanyala as well. They'll be delving into that and so much more on the other side. It's a sports discussion you really don't want to miss, with the World Athletics Championships in Oregon at the moment and the Commonwealth Games in Birmingham after that. They kick off with that debate after this short break.